Do you know where the name Tesco came from?
Yes, I do.
You do? Go on.
I used to know this. Go on, what is it? And when you say it, I'll go, oh, yeah, no, I did used to know this.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people just
from.
forget, yeah.
I know where Walmart comes from.
I don't know where Walmart comes from.
His name's Wally Martin, who owned the store. His name was Wally Martin, it is.
No, it wasn't. His name was Sam Walton.
No, it's Sam Walton.
No, it's Wally Martin. He used to live at the Elephant and Castle. He originally started. He used to sell Evening Standards outside the Elephant and Castle tube station. You look it up. It's one of those stories you'll say tomorrow. And he then graduated to having some kind of wooden shack to sell them in. Began selling Roundtree's fruit gums, Wrigley's, things like that, and it began the Walmart empire. Right. Wally Martin. So used to stand outside. Yes, he had one eye. One-eyed Wally Martin began the Walmart empire. Walmart. And so you're telling me Tesco's began how? Is because it's
because the co comes from Jack Owen.
Yeah, Jack Owen.
Jack Owen.
Yeah.
And the TES in Tesco comes from the first three initials of Jack Owen's tea importer. I didn't know that. I thought it was something more exotic and even entertaining than that, but it didn't stop you. So that's Tesco. They're standing. Was that an insult
then? It was no.
I'd read it as that.
It wasn't an insult. It was one in the eye.
Right.
It's one in the eye or an insult. But and of course, Wally Martin knew all about one in the eye, just having the one.
Wow.
So Safeways are going to be gobbled up. We think. Let's not be coy here. They're going to be gobbled up by Sainsbury's. Sainsbury's cannot afford to slip to fourth place in the market.
I don't think so, and I think Asda will eventually pull out because it really sort of doesn't want to overpay for anything.
Yeah,
it just goes against its entire principle of operations.
Does it?
Well, yeah, I mean, some people just refuse to overpay for anything. I mean, don't you? I mean, if you sort of see something that you like and you sort of say, how much is that? And if the guy won't budge on the price, you would just
I don't do that, you see. And I'm absolutely honest. I've never said how much
you succumb,
is that. It makes you sound mean. I don't want it or you don't. That's what it costs. There you go. Don't go, I'll never shop around.
Don't you haggle?
No, never. No, never. No,
I haggled in Marks & Spencer once.
You did?
Yeah. I did. It was so...
This is not really.
Yeah, my wife was so embarrassed because I only just...
Men haggling. No. No, what did you do?
I haggled over the price of a pair of gloves because I just arrived in this country. And, of course, out in Hong Kong, you haggle over everything. I mean, the first
price
You went
into Marks and Spencer's and it said $4.99 and you said, will you take 50 pence? Is that what you did?
I did, yeah.
Extraordinary.
And did you get a discount?
I did, yeah. She was so taken aback.
You're joking.
No, it does work.
You must have seen Western films. You must have known that Cary Grant never went into Tiffany's and then said, oh, that ring costs 50 million, I'll give you $1. He never did that sort of stuff.
You'll be surprised, what you can get away with these days.
Well, my dad always did that. I know it's 7 o'clock, but my old man, he's not mean at all, my old man, but he just figures everyone's bent and everyone's at it.
Yeah.
And so he will go into... I remember being once in Conran with him, and he was buying... and we were buying this beautiful shelves, and then the fella... And they were like, the 1,600 quid, a beautiful shelf unit. And this is my old man, whenever it happens. So he stands aside fuming that I'm not actually trying to get in the swim, as he says it. And then just as the salesperson, who was a bit swishy, was walking away from us, Mum went, John, I say, John. And the fella came back, and my dad said, we don't want a receipt. We don't want a receipt. And the fella said, OK, but no, look at me. We don't want a receipt. OK, so, well, I'm just going to check if we've got any, that's all. Yeah, but we don't understand what I'm talking about.
He should go shopping with David Coe. It'd be unbeatable.
There you go, Ola. You've got this pidgin English thing. Let's do this. Here's a Pip's dramatic...
In honour of your...
so this will be in honour of radio... What was the radio station that does
Solomon Islands.
The Solomon Islands. Just in case you missed it last week, this is how the Solomon Islands advertise themselves, and then Pip is going to do the travel in pidgin. Hang on.
The Solomon Islands Broadcasting Corporation transmitters have an aerial power of 5 kilowatts. And our programmes are broadcast from now until 10:30 tonight in English and pidgin.
So that's how they are. Now here's Pip with the travel. There you go, Pip.
Big bugger up, M25 highway this morning time. Please no good outside Tunham 10. Plenty worries if come up Chertsey. Behind time for walkabout in Highbury. Do kickball today. More better catching bus. Lights in the cat all wrong and broke. One paler time. Slowy car in Lick Rot. Warraloo Black Paler Paters. Walkabout stories on BBC London Wireless 94.9. Thank you. Back to Danny Man belong. Plenty talk and sing.
That is a fantastic thing. I'm sorry, Alex. There's only one Tsar of the rush hour still. Only one Tsar of all the rush hours. Where did you get that from?
I made it up.
You did. Listen. Oh, hang on. Oh. Thank you very much. This is your call signal, of course.
Fantastic.
This goes on for about half an hour as well afterwards. They've got it all going on abroad. We've got 2 fancy pence by half in the radio. That's all you need is the radio, the pigeon, and then a bit of this, a bit of this. This is the BBC from London, 94.9. It's just a matter of holding your nerve. That's all it is. Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, so that was a fantastic reading of the Travelling, and I look forward to one every day like that. Walkabout stories.
Yeah, walkabout stories.
All of a sudden you realise the full splendour of pigeon. I don't know whether the people over there in the Solomon Islands still use it, but certainly at one time they did. Here's Eddie the cabbie in Kensington. Good morning, Eddie.
Good morning, Candyman.
Yes, again, you see, normally people come, good morning, Candyman, but these moments are having to be torn from the living, hewn from the living rock of their soul. What have you got for us, Eddie?
This happened about 35 years ago. I was in the Orchids, and there was a partially blind woman waiting for a bus stop.
Already it's a minefield.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's 2 bus stops along there, and both have a different bus that goes to Peckham. So I said, you waiting for a bus, love? She went, yeah, all right. So I said, there's a number that went to the other stop. I said, come on, we walked down there, which was an old girl.
Yeah.
By the time we got down there, the bus had stopped and gone.
Yeah.
Turned around, I said, I'm sorry about that. Looked up, now there's a bus coming down to the original stop.
Okay, so, yeah. Yes.
So, walked back.
Yeah.
Now, this went on about 4 or 5 times. And in the depth, she turned around in a very cultured voice. She said, young man, thank you very much, but would you mind an expletive off? I'm doing better on my own.
You see, I don't know whether this is a plain old-fashioned embarrassment story or whether this has eaten away at your psyche. Do you often tell this story?
No, not really. I just thought it up. I've never helped anybody else at bus stop.
I suppose you haven't helped anybody else, but I'm thinking
the
here...
bus stop thing, it's the whole transient thing.
I'll tell you what I'm going to allow this as, Eddie. I'm not going to allow it as a life-defining moment. I'm going to... I mean, it may be a big, dumb Eddie moment. That's under review at the moment. But I'm allowing it as bus stops are fraught with danger phone-in, which is now turned into a side order. How many times do you think you ran the old girl between stops?
A good 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
A good. And she was panting at the end.
Yeah.
And I was saying...
Now you're just building it up, aren't you?
No.
Panting at the end?
At the end of it, poor old girl.
Yeah.
She had a stick as well. But it has changed my life because, as I said, I've never helped anybody, even in directions. I always go, I don't know.
You don't know, exactly. You know, and because every time you see, I believe, a bus stop or even an old lady, you broke out. You shake. That's what you do. You shake. Well, I'm glad we're here to help you this morning because these may be life-defining moments. Here's Chris in South Wardham. Good morning, Chris. You're early for your appointment, but I'm glad to see you. Firstly, how are you and yourself, Chris?
Not bad, Candyman.
Okay, so you get your pound. You're not too traumatised to do that. And Chris, in yourself, you're well. You have no other wider problems than this.
No, but it has dogged me for the remaining period of my life.
Because last time we spoke, and I don't want to breach the confidentiality here in front of other people, but you mentioned leakage, and that seems to have cured itself as we predicted. Yes, I don't think that can be an index linked to this. So tell us, Chris, what happened to you?
Right, well, it was a lovely sunny Thursday afternoon. I was leaving work early. I had the Friday off, and I was driving away from Stratford down the Romford Road. And as you're going along the Romford Road, there's loads of lorries around, and all these lorry drivers sitting there with no tops on, getting sunburn on their arms and that, sort of generally looking free and easy. And there's me in a suit and tie, and I thought, this will do for me. I want some of that.
Yeah.
So as I'm driving along, off comes the tie, and then off comes the shirt. I get past Romford, and there's sort of a few back lanes out there, a bit out the way. So I thought, this'll do. I've come, kick started kicking off my trousers, basically, and so I'm sitting there in my boxer shorts, as I imagine the lorry drivers in their shorts driving about. I'm feeling the same sort of way.
Can I just stop here? No. I should, as a doctor, I'm here to listen and not judge. You took your trousers off?
Yeah, well, yeah.
What do we live in, Rio? I mean, how hot did it get over
It felt like it. I've travelled
the A13 many times. I've never thought, well, it's time to get the trousers off. I think that's just how hot it is, officer.
There is that lay-by. No.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yes, I think they call it dogging these days. But anyway, so what have you got? Go on, Chris. So there you are. You're now sitting in your shorts and socks.
Yeah, and well, basically, as I'm going along the back lanes there, it is a bit of a sort of a rat run, as it were. So I'm going along, and I turn the corner, and basically the police are doing a tax check on the cars.
Oh, right, OK. And I hate to say it, but it serves you right. It serves you right. Sitting in a car in your pants and socks. Yes, I'm glad the police were doing this. I'm sorry, I'm no longer a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Yes, and what happened?
Well, I did have a tax disc, but I used to put it on the just lean it against
Chris,
the windscreen.
I don't think the tax disc is what we're talking about. Yeah.
Rolled across, and they couldn't see it, so I got tugged over, and when they asked me to step out the vehicle, well, I appeared out of the vehicle with a pair of office brogues on and a pair of, and I'm not building this up, it's genuine, a pair of Daffy Duck boxer shorts. They asked me to walk around the vehicle.
I'm not even going to dignify that with yesterday, but yeah. And what did they do?
And they asked me to walk around the vehicle a couple of times, I think at least 3 times, and 2 times more than was required, and sent me on my way. And needless to say, it spoilt me weekend and probably the rest of my life.
This is the key phrase here, because please don't, as I say, I didn't want debagging stories when we started this, because they're much more intense when they're tiny and they only mean something to you. But this, of course, we're going to allow, because you say it ruined the rest of your life. And of course, you're so vulnerable, aren't you? You're standing there, there may be 1 or 2 pretty police women, I don't know. And you are standing there in the Daffy Duck boxer shorts and the brogues.
Yeah, a very pale, long pair of white legs, and then these big black shoes and
and did you get out the car and say, you're going to laugh at this, actually, because what's happened is you started in a full suit and time.
Yeah.
Right, I don't know. I mean, this poor fellow's just been arrested in South Africa, Mr. Bond. You know, he seems that to me is an innocent person. If they hoik you out of the car on the A13 because you're sitting there stark naked in your car, I think the police have got a case. I don't think you're going to earn a shilling out of this, and any retribution is brought to the rest of your life was brought upon yourself. Get out. Off you go. The psychiatrist is here next Friday again. He wasn't in this morning because he had an extra session on Monday and was exhausted. However, he will be hearing this one story. As you know, these are not tales of broad strokes of the brush embarrassment. These are not about, and then the vicar called round and I was naked. These are tiny moments in your life that resonate like a tuning fork. And you think, I think the reason I can never quite take myself seriously is because of something that happened, and usually in your formative years, when you realise, no, that's me. No, I don't care what else. What triumphs. That's me. That's it. That's you. And it's the you that only you know. And it usually stems from one incident. Here's Nicola's tale. Where is Nicola? It doesn't say anywhere, but this is a terrific thing that happened to Nicola. And whenever she gets too above herself now or too swanky, she remembers this moment. And then here she goes. I was having an argument with my mum and dad when I was about 12. They were really infuriating me, as parents do when you're 12, and I really wanted to swear at them. But I thought that I was already in really a dodgy situation, and I'd be really in trouble if I went that way. But I was furious. So instead of flinging swear words at them, I opted for words that I thought I could get away with, substitute swear words. When I really lost it, I stormed off to my bedroom, stopped halfway up the stairs, turned, and said at the top of my voice, You pair, you stinking bum swines. After 5 seconds of silence, they both fell to the floor, creased with laughter. This was 24 years ago. I've never lived this down. Every time the whole family get together, they still talk about stinking bum swines. And I laugh along with them, but believe me, inside, I'm having a cold sweat. I'm thinking, yeah, that's me. I think this is the sort of thing that might need a little therapy, and I hope it helps you this morning. From Nicola, stinking bum swine. That is so terrible.
It is.
Think, this will be my crushing denouement to you, and then realising the sentence has no ending apart from stinking bum swine. Thank you very much indeed, Nicola. There's not
that hurts.
Yeah, that is.
That hurts.
Both
the moment of your greatest indignation becomes a moment of hilarity for everyone else.
I've done that. I couldn't think.
They're not laughing towards you, they're laughing at you.
Dan, in your mind, what's the most beautiful, most exotic and rudest looking flower that you can think of?
Oh, there's lots of those. There are some tremendously phallic plants out there. There are some that even ooze.
Rudest plant it's got to be some kind of mushroom.
Some kind of...
the arum
some kind
lily.
Of spore, some kind of... How about the orchid?
Orchids.
Yes. Well, it's not really phallic, Dan.
Orchids are crappy.
I think it's the kind of other end of the scale. But anyway, I think the orchid is up there in terms of most beautiful, exotic, and rudest.
I can't think of the... What is the opposite of... I mean, I don't want the term. Is there an opposite? Is there
opposite end of which scale?
Phallic and...
maybe yes.
No, well, okay. I know what we're talking about.
Let's leave it at that. But anyway,
right, sure.
Dr. Henry Oakley has been growing orchids for 43 years. He lectures all over the world on orchids, is the president of the Orchid Society of Great Britain. He's also the chairman of the European Orchid Show, which is happening over at the Royal Horticultural Society Hall in Westminster this week. And he joins us now. Good morning, Dr. Oakley.
Good morning to you.
Now, tell us, what is the allure of the orchid?
Oh, they're just so wonderful.
Yeah.
Some of them are very sexual. The opposite of phallic, by the way, is probably gynecological.
Yes, I thought that, but that doesn't seem right. I always have other connotations to that, and perhaps we shouldn't dwell. But I'm sure there is some kind of a...
But that's a fair assessment, isn't it?
But I think the thing which really attracts one at this orchid show is the fragrance.
Yeah.
There's two whole halls of the Royal Horticultural Society full of orchids from all over the world. We've got orchids from 17 different countries here.
Mm-hmm.
And,
the first time I ever heard of orchids is probably the same as everybody else. You hear of that people travel to remote parts of the jungle just to see the once flowering, etc., and they cost £200,000 each. Is there such an orchid? Is there the rarest orchid in the world, so to speak?
There is. There are extremely rare orchids, but most of the orchids which you can buy today are mass-produced in nurseries, and people grow them on their windowsill. It's the most popular houseplant in Europe.
But it would be... would it be... sorry, Amy, carry on, because you just hold up the sign there.
Well, I've heard that you've got orchids that pretend to be butterflies, bees, and even moths.
Wow!
Absolutely.
Yeah,
They mimic insects in order to get pollinated.
And coming back to my rather crass line of thought about these extremely rare ones still, are there such beasts, or have they all been put in public now? Because they do seem to be everywhere, and quite rightly. But is there still a holy grail for people like yourself?
Yes, I mean, there are people who collect very special variegated forms of rare Japanese species of orchids, and they will pay £50,000-60,000 for a very rare plant.
50
oh
or
my
60,000
goodness! What if you
pounds?
forget to water it?
It dies.
Yeah. and how come yourself, given all of the fauna and flora to choose from, aimed in on Brer Orchid? How comes?
I think I started young. If somebody had given me a cactus, I'd probably be growing cacti.
Is that right? You were given an orchid as a young boy, yeah?
Given an orchid.
Uh-huh. And which one was that?
It was a slipper orchid from the Himalayas.
And do you often think about that original orchid and think I could have nourished it and kept it going?
Oh, the second orchid I ever bought, I still have.
You're kidding? How does that happen?
You just water it.
No, I mean, all of us have. And I'm not particularly green-fingered, or even, I'm neither am I bad at it. But forgive me here. How old are you?
I'm 61.
You're 61.
In my greenhouse, I have several orchids which were over 100 years old. At the orchid show last year, we had orchids which were 1,100 years old.
Oh, now you're just being a troublemaker. There's no such plant.
Yes, so they just go on growing. As long as you don't kill them, they can go on growing forever.
Is there nothing we can do to splice the human gene into these things and be both fragrant and live forever? Surely you've done that kind of experimentation, otherwise the man's no scientist.
They have orchids that are bigger than humans and ones that are smaller than a fingernail.
The smallest orchid is about 2 millimetres across.
And the largest?
Weighed 2 tons, was found in Malaya 150 years ago.
What do you found in Malaya? I mean, it is Malaya, isn't it? 2 tons?
A division of that plant still grows in the Singapore Botanic Garden.
A 2-ton orchid? I would.
What do you do when you find a 2-ton orchid?
What they did was to take it off the tree, cut it in half.
It was growing. A tree was suspending. What was the tree?
The tree weighed more than 2 tons.
Mr. Oakley, we need hours on this. I really thought we were going to come on here and talk about buttonholes and disappear again. 2 tons?
No. What you have to do is come to this orchid show,
absolutely.
Royal Horticultural Society Hall, all this week, starting Thursday morning, finishing Sunday, and see tens of thousands of orchids.
Well, we must do that. I mean, you've teased us here, and I apologise for staggering blithely into a conversation that needed days of research. A 2-ton orchid, orchids are over 1,000 years old, and even Henry Oakley himself has an orchid. He's had the second orchid he ever had. That's a bit frustrating having the second orchid you ever had, and not the first.
Oh, the first one was the slipper orchid, and I specialise now in South American orchids, and so the...
Yeah, but nothing will ever replace that humble slipper, in your opinion, will it? That was the bait, that was the hook. Thank you very much, Henry Oakley, a tremendous guest.
Thank you.
It was just before you come to Alex, it's Lynn in Dagenham, and I know Amy's got a guest. Good morning, Lynn.
Good morning, Candyman.
Thank you very much, Lynn, for hanging on for what might have been a million years. That's a pound there. Lynn, you're ringing in because earlier on, one of the categories we have this morning, and we're ticking them off as we go, we've got 4 more categories to fill in, otherwise we win as opposed to the audience. I'll explain it more in a minute. But we heard about a treacherous horse earlier on, and which is one of the categories, and Lynn said, that's not a treacherous horse. Let me tell you about a treacherous horse. What have you got for us, Lynn?
OK, when I was about 11 or 12 in Belfast, my sister bought me this horse, which we kept in the garden of our council house.
Who bought you a horse?
My sister did.
She bought you a horse?
Yep.
Where did she buy a horse? Was she taking some magic beans to market? How did she get a horse?
Oh, she was knocked down and she got a claim for it, so that's what she used it for.
But she went around the road and said, I know what I'll get my sister. A horse. Yeah? And you kept it in your garden?
Afraid so, yeah.
How big was your garden?
It's not big enough.
But it was a horse out there?
Yes.
How did she hide the horse in the house before your birthday?
That's another story which I'll tell you a different
day. And she said, all right, now, open your eyes. And there it was. Yeah. A horse, or rather, yeah. Thank you very much. So there's a horse.
Okay.
There's a horse. It's your birthday present. Okay. Yep. What do you do with it?
So it's in the back garden and it's the summertime. We're all sitting out in the garden in the sun, and we decide that we're going to bring the tortoise out for a bit of sun.
Oh, already I'm ahead of the treacherous horse story here.
So the tortoise sticks its head out, and the horse bites it off.
Oh, dear Lord. Oh, dear Lord. I want to speak to Lynn another day about the whole horse thing, but I think we'll leave that there. I think we'll have to leave that there because, no, it is. Because yesterday it was bad enough when we were amputating hamsters' hands to give an unnerving gift to someone. But now that happens, and the horse leans down, and the way they can fold back their lips is very, very, very alarming anyway. They just went... Oh, God. No, it's okay. I think I saw the tortoise duck its head back in first. He did. He missed it. The tortoise got his head back in, and you pick the tortoise up, and you put one eye to the opening, and no, he didn't. And just pour the rest of the tortoise out, and that's it. Just leant forward and went... A very clean and neat incision, and there it is. Spit it out! Spit it out! That's it. Rush it to the hospital with a bag of peas on the top of the tortoise. Can you sew this back on? So they did, and the tortoise was groggy after that. What a terrible thing. That's the treacherous horse story from Lynn. Happy birthday, by the way. Happy birthday to Alex, of course, leader of the 19-year-olds. It is her birthday here, and you wanted it a while back before the whole horse-tortoise thing. And you got to. I do apologise to Austin. Austin, wait there. Yeah. No. Perhaps you want to leave that a second.
Yeah.
We've got one just to fit in before we go. It's been Kevin in Romford. Good morning, Kev.
Morning, Danny.
Candy. Oh, look, I'll give you I'll take that back, unless you say Candyman. That's it. Legitimise it. What have you got for us, Kev?
Oh, just something, when you hear something that makes you think of something, that's all. This will
be an evocative song, so...
yes.
OK, so what have you got?
Well, you're on the TV, on your local news, and on your the little jingle.
Online, yes.
I don't know why, my wife just picks it up, always say something,
The what?
I always say something.
What do you say? What do you say?
Go boil your head.
You said... What do you think about ding, 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 ding?
Go bowl your head, that's it.
Do you know, we've got it, can we just try it? We'll just...
BBC London.
I want to hear it now.
94.9 FM.
On TV, on radio, online.
This is BBC London.
Go bowl your head. Yes, I suppose so. I suppose so. Just lose it there for a second, Paul. I suppose it is go bowl your head. And now, of course, everybody is there. Go bowl your head. We all have those. Tomorrow morning we'll have to round those up. I've got so many things. I used to do it with the football shows. Sometimes there are footballers' names, and whenever you hear them, you have to say something afterwards. Famously Zidane, of course. Zidane, you're rocking the boat. And Ripley, whenever Ripley's met, I have to say, believe it or not, you have to do them. And you have to say, go boil your head. And now so do we. Would that take us into what we're going to do anyway next? Do we play that anyway next, Paul, do we? Because I want to hear it again. You got it? Go on then. We'll see you tomorrow, everyone, because who has more head-boiling fun than we do around the treehouse? No. It's over to you then, Kevin. Where you go? Try this.
BBC London. On 94.9 FM.
On TV, on radio, online.
This is BBC London.
Go ball your head.
Superb, that's us done. Thank you very much, everyone. Where you go, Paulie? Go ball your head.
Broken down vehicle causing clockwise delays on the M25.
And we'll continue this as and when we can. As I say, the station has made entirely the right decision that perhaps it's inappropriate to have musical songs and matters of, arguments over the pronunciation of pretzel in French at a time when the war is upon us. But as soon as we do come back again, presuming that it all kicks off today, then we will have the Salvation Army big bass drum. We will have all our usual offices. In the meantime, of course, there'll be a superb service run. I believe a run through Gaunty is how it's going to be. He's going to be the traffic cop that takes all these on. He'll be with her in a second. We've had a request how to end the show today if we are disappearing for a while. And it's a little poignant even of itself. It is a little poignant because I usually would say thank you, Amy, thank you, Mark, because who has more crisis fund than we do in a little radio treehouse?
And we'd say nobody.
We'd say nobody. Yeah. But who is it who's actually sent us the email here? It's from Emma. She says, go on, please. If you are going to disappear for a while, all of you, could we have the only way to sign off for a little bit? So, here we go. We're ready? We're finished? We're done? We're out of here. Okay, this will be it. This is what Emma wants. Goodbye, listeners.